Hello, everybody. We are here for the October 2024 energy update. And as I've always said, once Labor Day hits, it's the rest of the year just flies by, and it feels like that's really what's happening. So before I get started into the October energy update, we see what kind of comes through and what we've got metaphorically and energetically and literally. What may be coming up. I just want to give you an update from my last video that I just did a few days ago, which included kind of where we're at with respect to the eclipse season. So what I have experienced, as well as seeing the pattern in others, but also what I'm being told is that this eclipse season is one of the most powerful yet. And they just said the word slip-ups. Yeah. Okay, slip-ups are prevalent. That's that comment that I made, if you've watched that video, of the potential for accidents, like weird little things that I talked about in that video, like sprains and breaks, unfortunately, and falls, things like that can be pretty prevalent. And it's even stronger energy because what's happening, they just said the word colliding. When these energies come in from the cosmic realm, and what they're showing me, they just said the word colliding again. It's really interesting. It's like, okay, they just said new energy colliding with the old, and like, it's kind of like an integration of energy that we don't see, but it bumps into each other, causing a, this is interesting, a fracturing. Okay, so when the fracturing happens, this kind of makes sense. Like, think about a fall or a sprain or like a fracturing. Oh, a fracturing of energy. Okay, they're showing like an earthquake. Like, you know how an earthquake like reshifts the ground or the plates? That's what they're talking about. Oh, and it destabilizes for a moment. And that's, this is so interesting. And this is why these things can happen. Which is why during this time, and of course we have the solar eclipse coming up on October 3rd, we just need to pay attention to our intuition, go slow. We can say that all we want. We rush around like crazy most of the time, but don't do that. Things like going down steps, kind of some basic things we don't really ever think about. So anyway, I just want to make that comment. However, what I want to tell you, how bizarre this is, just to kind of reinforce what is being brought through, is the day that I put that video out, this most recent one. Oh my gosh. I go to my chiropractor and I was talking to the receptionist about eclipse season because she understands energy, and she was talking about that. And I told her about, being aware, not being fearful, but just being aware that this is a time where energy is colliding as such. Anyway, she said, oh my gosh, our massage therapist just broke her wrist 2 days ago and she's out for a month. I said, oh my gosh, see? I said, unfortunately. Well, then that evening I get a text, because I play a lot of tennis, as many of you know, saying that at our racket club where we play, one of the pros is out for the drills that they do because he just broke his left pinky finger. No. Or not his left, I think he's left hand. Anyway, it was his dominant hand for tennis. So he's out. He can't play. I mean, he can't teach because he can't hold on to a racket. Anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just, I've never seen an eclipse season like this. So I just want you to keep that in mind and just keep reminding you again, it's not a fearful thing. It's just, this is the way it is. And I'm glad they brought through how this works, because I was telling the receptionist the other day, I said, I don't know how this works, but there you go. There's the information. And now they're helping us understand why that occurs and why that can affect us in the physical world. Okay, so today we're going to launch into the October energy update. I do want to introduce myself, though, to those of you who are new and may have not watched my videos before. I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, a distance energy healer, and an intuitive guide, and I assist you in your life journey, past, present, future, potential future, and assist you in your spiritual awakening journey. So if you are interested in taking a look at my services, check out purplerainhealing.com. All of that's listed in the description box below the video. And I would be happy to do a 15-minute consultation with you and or just launch into a session. So check out my services. I'd be happy to work with you. Also, I would appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe. It helps me reach more people with these videos. And that said, I do offer some other free content. Again, in the description box below, you will find a link to my email list. My email list is essentially used to give you more content. Every Friday, I send out a poem from the Light Keepers because I channel poetry, which is supportive for you in your life journey. And then there's usually a little channeled piece in advance of that. That's what I use my email list for. If you want to join for more free content and a supportive message about this life journey of ours and the awakening journey, do sign up there. All right, let's go ahead and just launch into what they want to talk about. Now, what I will say is just beforehand, I didn't get a laundry list of things because I just didn't connect in to do that. But they did say the word force field, and I'm not kidding you. Remember if you didn't watch last month's energy update, this references that, but the cloaked figures that we are moving forward into this new pathway, what they're showing me is we are like a force field. We are a force moving forward, and what they showed me today is we are just expanding in our field. Remember, everything's energy. Okay, so I speak to energy, and I usually see energy first, and it forms up. But what they're showing me now, and I have chills. I wish you could see my chills. Anyway, what they're showing me now is this: that they just said advancement forward. And we're growing. Our field is growing. We are so bright. And we are this isn't like a military battle, running forward on your horses or whatever, in our battleships or whatever. This is this silent, powerful walk forward. We are cloaked figures, all white light. I don't see any faces, but I see bodies, like a physique. But hundreds of us, hundreds and thousands of us. But there is this, it's kind of like an arc, is what I'll say. It's an arc of energy. Ooh, this is interesting. They're showing it around the earth, an arc of energy enveloping the earth. This is our march forward. This is our strength of ourselves. And we're taking that force field in with us, breaking down. This is really one of the first times I've seen where it's this big. Right? We've been on this journey, right? And we continue this journey, but we've been on this journey kind of fits and starts. We move forward and we move back, and that's the way the individual journey is. Now, we're talking collectively speaking here, so everything you're doing very specifically in your own journey is assisting the collective. As I've always said, even if you're just sitting in your home doing your thing and you hardly ever get out, it matters, okay? Anyway, so what they're presenting to us today is one of the more powerful visuals I've seen since I've been doing this channeling of energy updates for us as we move forward in this ascension journey. And what I'm very much getting, wow, there's nothing that can stop us. It feels as a human at times. Although, you know what? I think most of us are realizing, even when those little times pop in, and I'm talking collectively, pop in of like, oh, how are we going to overcome this? That leaves pretty fast because we know. It just pops in real quick and leaves because we know. We know nothing can stop us. And so this force field of us, it's actually this light energy out front of us that we're emanating from ourselves. And we're in these, I wish I could paint this. I always say that. These cloaked, beautiful light figures moving forward in an arc. It's not like there's a leader. There is a arc. And that makes sense though because we've got wave upon wave upon wave, right? So we have some that have started first, and it is like that. We can't all go at once into the field. It's too much energy, right? So we're moving in as a force field, but one that is it's not a tsunami. It's like that wave upon wave beating down the shore. But what I'm getting is this energy is so powerful that we have created as a collective of light workers that There's not a need for this extreme energy because, in the sense of, or this extreme action, because the field that we've grown, energetic field we've grown within our own selves, rolls up into the collective of light workers and then emanates out from that collective, regardless of where you're at on Earth, and gently moves forward. I've always seen it as a gentle process in that sense, and how this breaks down. And that also goes to how, what I've talked about before, and they've always said this to me, is that no, this isn't going to be an apocalypse. No, everything's not going to break down, and we're not going to have 10 days of darkness or whatever. Anyway, and I've always said, well, if I'm wrong, come back and tell me, hey, you were wrong. Anyway, that said, this is this gentle, I don't want to really call it gentle, but that's how they're showing it. Like just this continued pressure, gentle pressure of our light in our field that we have created in our own individual journey that rose up in the collective light workers that continues to break down what we're seeing happening, okay? And, okay, they just said into a granular level, it will become dust of the wind. Yeah. But here's the thing, this, as we've talked about, as our field continues to move forward, it's almost like it engulfs or eats up the old energy. And they just said in its wake leaves the light grains of sand. So they're using a metaphor again with the water and the waves. Light grains of sand that turn to stardust in the skies to recreate the new. So the old is recreating the new. I hope that makes sense. It's like recycling, all right? But not recycling, recycling in a way that then rebuilds the new. And this is this visual. This makes so much sense. This is this visual they've always given me of the old breaking down, crumbling in ways, foundations being torn out of institutions, belief systems, ways of being, constructs, all of that, and into like dust I've always seen kind of crumbling down. But what's happening is it turns into stardust. This is so beautiful. And it turns into diamonds because of our light. Oh my God, I have so many chills. And it floats into the sky. Again, I wish I could draw this. And it helps create the new with this new light, new energy, because it's been infused. The old has been infused, broken down. Old, they just said extracted, old energy extracted, new infused, and the recreation, which is starting to happen already. It's just a fascinating time. So what they're wanting to talk about is, they just said precursor to of the new year. Oh, 2025. Okay, they're just giving me, I can't believe we're ready for 2025. What in the world, right? I have chills. So this is more of like this continuation into 2025. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, and sometimes I repeat myself because it's important to hear the message over again, all right? What they're saying, and they repeat themselves, I should say, is they just said rolling waves, and we're going to continue in this way, in this manner through the rest of the year. Now the energy, what I'm getting here is, we're in this heightened time right now. And I still feel as though, at least from what they're showing me right now with the eclipse season, the energies have kind of a little bit stabilized. The first week was really something. And again, I don't know how you guys have experienced it, but I'm just giving you what I'm seeing. Again, also, I guess that relates to what I've experienced personally. Anyway, so what we're going to have the rest of the year, and this probably seems obvious, but is heightened energy moving into the new year, which will then reframe. They just said reframe what is to come. So this heightened energy, and remember, we've got a lot going on in the 3D, but just forget that for a minute. They're talking about a reset. We're getting ready for a reset. Now remember, it's not everything's crashing down and falling down in one blink of an eye kind of thing. Okay, we're getting ready for this reset that's happening in 2025, 2026. But what we're doing right now is we're into heightened energy that's going to carry through. And they're also talking about the solstice. But we're going to be able to learn how to maneuver with it, utilize it for our higher good is what I keep getting. Utilize it for our higher good. You know how we feel our bodies, minds shift and change kind of day to day. I am getting this idea of many of us starting to stabilize in these higher frequencies, okay? Many of us starting to stabilize. But that journey to there is like, being in bumper cars, right? I mean, seriously. And so now that said, it doesn't mean that's not going to happen again down the road, but we're reaching a stabilizing point, okay, with these energies for those of us who have been through they just said like turbulent times of these energies kind of, smacking us around. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to feel these energies. But you're going to be more in a space of being able to, they just said accommodate them, okay? Which is important because they're heightened energies. It's almost like the eclipse season came in with the energies and then got us used to them or whatever, right? And then they're carrying forward, but in a way that are able to accommodate them more. And then carrying us into the solstice, which I swear I feel like I just talked about the solstice, but we're talking about the December solstice, obviously. And within that, we have other things going on, but primarily I'm talking about the big events. And we're going to this is interesting. I'm talking more about the rest of the year than October. I don't know why they're doing this, but apparently it's important. We're going to get they just said a rocket booster, like amount of energy added to that in the solstice in December. And we're going to have a blast of light that comes out from us. I don't know what that's going to look like literally, because we know when there is energy, there's kind of a delayed reaction on the ground, okay? How that will manifest, when that will manifest, I don't know, but what they're showing is almost like this. It's a amping up of our voltage, they just said. We are continuing between now and the solstice, and they are marking years. It's so interesting. You would think that wouldn't matter, but in our world, that's what we reference, right? So that's my thought on why they speak to us that way. Oh, they just said absolutely. Okay, all right. So we're bringing in that light, we're accommodating more of what's being offered to us. Okay. Now remember, the June solstice set the stage for this. Okay, set the stage for this rest of the year. Remember we talked about that. Now I'm starting to remember some of what I brought through. Setting the stage for the rest of the year. And now here we are in these times, and God, we've gotten smacked around lately, but it's all to take us to the end of the year, the solstice, where we're going to get a rocket booster full of light. I'm talking collective light workers, okay? But you probably will feel this some way in your own journey. And then that takes us into the new year where they just said the light frequency. It's like they're showing a visual representation of it raining down from the sky. Like crystalline light. Like dewdrops. You know how dewdrops on the ground look like just crystal light? That's what they're showing. But let's just try to get back to October, because apparently they really wanted to talk about the rest of the year. Because I'm not ready to, they probably, we don't want to get into what the new year's going to look like. Then we'll leave that for the end of the year. But they're really, really driving me to look at the 3 months. They're very, very eager for the new year and the new times to come. Now remember, on the ground, 3D on the ground, sometimes it looks awful, right? But we got to go through this to transform into what we do want. It's like the birthing process. Anybody who's ever had children, you women know what that's all about. And guess what? Babies do too. Squeezing through and, having that birth occur is traumatic. And yet at the same time, we're full of joy when those things happen in human form. This is how we should go into our remaining months as well as the new year, looking at as, yes, this is a traumatic process the collective is going through, and us individually in our own journey, right? Because we roll up to the collective. But it is full of joy and happiness ultimately, because when a baby is born, is it not the most amazing occurrence? This new birth, what's going to be created out of that new little person, right? You can use that metaphor, all right? You can use that metaphor. And so we're bringing new life. This is it. We're bringing new life into the collective. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen us so powerful. And it's this. There's no expression on our, we don't even really have faces. We're just this cloaked light body. We're a body. We have clothing. We have a cloak over us. And our heads are bowed, but they say in reverence. Oh, they just said to those in front of you. So we're starting this march in October. Well, we kind of started in September, but this march in October is a big deal. Okay, this is where the energy is in October. We're going to amplify, they just said, amplify this. There's something also about, now Halloween, I don't know that much about Halloween because I'm not a Halloween fan, but we've created an energy around Halloween. But you guys are going to have to tell me because I don't remember or know. Is that really is there a pagan representation of that at that time of year? I don't know. I don't remember. There's something else. There's something else that is less 3D created in that sense, if you know what I mean, is more magical during that time. But what we're doing is we are amplifying ourselves right now in this way. Oh my God. We are amplifying ourselves and we're utilizing the eclipse season energies to do this and then to hold our own is what they're talking about, holding our own. And then as a group of individuals across the world, this is so cool. We are in our cloaked light. It's like cloaks of light. Honestly, it's the coolest thing. Cloaks of light. Moving forward, but we're they just said bowing down in reverence. Our heads are, we're not bowing down, but our heads are down as we're walking. We're not up like this. We're down like this, and we're reverently moving forward in a force that they just said cannot be reckoned with. That cannot be reckoned with. And this is how we're moving forward. This is how we're taking our light forward, but it's growing and it's more powerful and more powerful. And it emanates from all of us as a collective. And this is how it's going to be done. We just keep moving and growing in that light, in whatever we encounter. It's like I'm trying to give another metaphor for you to kind of understand this. I keep saying like encroaching upon is what they just said. Like, you know how something will encroach upon and erode? That's what they're saying. Erode it away. It's like, or you can think of like, I don't know, use I don't want to like to use a bulldozer, but like moving into the ground and taking more. Now, that's not a really good reference to what I'm seeing because this is a gentle process. Ultimately, a gentle process. Doesn't look like it in 3D, but the energy that's coming in could be so much worse in the sense of what it could do. And they're trying to help you understand this is even though the gentle energy in itself coming from first of all, the assistance of the cosmos, but us accommodating that is gentle, but it could, if we offered any more than what that gentle kind of slow erosion is, we would be blown apart in 3D because it is so powerful that we can't have anything but that gentle flow. You know, there are a lot of us that want, just let's get this over with, just do the thing. We can't do that. We would destroy everything in our pathway. They're just showing now, you know how they bring Marvel comics in, the Avengers? Oh my God, they just brought the Avengers in again. Okay, they're trying to explain, but it's not like that. Your power is such, they just said, your power is such, but it's not how you're going to use it. Now, a lot of us love those Avengers, right? That's how we want to be, right? Like, everything changes and we blow things away and we turn everything into light. That's not how this works. I know, that doesn't feel right, does it? I don't know. Anyway, especially for those of us who maybe have more assertive, I don't want to call it aggressive, but more fiery energy. I'm an Aries, so that just Avengers matches up with me just perfectly, right? For some of us, it might not. But anyway, that said, it's not how it's going to work. It's going to be this continued flow of beautiful. And we're shoring this up. We're accommodating all this energy. We're getting used to it right now. As we move into October, we're going to find our footing, is what I'm getting, to carry this forward in this collective journey. They're very much talking about the collective this time around. So we're going to try to get here to some individual things that you can do. You know, it's kind of the same process over and over. Once we get more mature in our individual journey, we kind of go, oh, this is what we need to do. We start seeing what works for us. I mean, honestly, I just got done telling a friend this today. I said, over my journey, what I have realized, and this has just come to my awareness to truly understand for me what it's all about and how to maneuver forward, because I don't want to say it's simple, but it's not as complex as we make it. There's a lot of complexity within it. But ultimately, what I have learned is it's about anchoring in my light body and growing my field, my energy field in my own individual uniqueness, and letting go and surrendering, not having expectations, like the true letting go and surrendering and offering to the divine, offering to your higher power your burden, lifting that off your shoulders so that you can accommodate the light that wants to be within you and so that you can carry that forward. So those two things for me individually, I've realized is at the core of my journey. Releasing expectations and surrendering, allowing to come what is to come, and knowing I will be well taken care of and that I can offer that to the divine, to my higher power, release that heavy energetic burden so I can free myself up to accommodate this light, as well as continuing to have practices that anchor in my light body and build my field, my energy field. Because then what starts to happen, and I've seen this over the last particularly year, but most particularly put the story together in the summer and up to now and seeing the results of that, is the strength that I have energetically speaking. My intuitive gifts have grown. All these little things that have shifted and changed for me in the sense of, kind of this gradual way, but very clearly I have seen where I am not buffeted around by the energies any longer. Now, I on occasion will feel fatigue or something, but I'm feeling fabulous these days, right? Over the last few months. But it has been a massive journey to get there. And now I know my recipe. But essentially, honestly, I've been told over and over again, this is really kind of the recipe in general, very basically speaking, for all of us, is to be able to focus on how do we continue to anchor in our light body and really achieve the fullness of who we are inside out, and build that energetic field around us, that strength, and then be able to accommodate what's coming in. And then at the same time as we're doing this, because it's kind of a symbiotic relationship where we surrender, we release at the same time, and we let the burden fly off of us of this 3D world, and we get guided forward, and we release, we have faith, we have trust, and that energy is then able to be more of a benefit to us and be able to mesh more with our field, if that makes sense. So, I'll say this over and over again, I've offered that full guided meditation before, and I'm telling you, it is a game changer. It is literally a game changer. It's in my videos. I think many of you have checked it out. Again, you can, ultimately, this is kind of where it's at. But this is October, okay? So October is continuing to feel the fullness of who we are, right? Being able to start recognizing how you're shifting and changing, how you're accommodating energy differently than you are before. Because it's a gradual process in this journey. Big things happen overnight on occasion, right? Like I talked about the Rubik's Cube, but basically it's day to day. Understanding your patterns, understanding your journey in a way that helps you see your progress, helps you see the things that you need to continue to work on. So collectively speaking, as light workers, what we're doing, remember light workers, ultimately, I believe we're all light workers, but, there's only some of us that are consciously aware, going through the awakening journey, more and more and more now. So those of us, all right, who understand this journey and are going through it very consciously, we are embodying much more. Okay. Oh, they just said a higher percentage of the light that's offered to us in these events. Okay, that's all the things I just said earlier is why, right? All the things that we're doing, our healing journey, which encompasses all of this. Anyway, we are now moving forward in these times, and it's just fascinating to see this visual, because we're just slowly eroding the old and we're engulfing, which it's a beautiful thing, and others are coming with us. You know how I've given the visual representation of how we're magnetic and we pull the others along. This time, what it is, it's like enveloping them. This is the visual, like pulling them in such a gentle way where they just feel welcomed and accepted. And our work that we've been doing is paving. This is also part of the metaphor. Remember, I've talked about how we're paving that way. We're paving that way. They gave a bunch of metaphors, chopping down the initial path in the jungle, so that others can follow. Well, this time they're showing how having done this brings them into the fold, is what they just said, and in a beautiful way, in a more gentle way. Now, again, I will say, puppy dogs and rainbows aren't necessarily what you're going to see outside your window. But what I will say to you is, as you start to, and this is kind of part of another video, but that as you vibe higher, you raise your frequency, you do all of this journey that we're on, and you really embrace it through the trials and tribulations and through the joys and happy times, we actually open up the pathway for others to follow in our footsteps, but in a more gentler way. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to have ease and grace and all of that. Everybody has their own stuff, but we open up that pathway. So what I really want you to understand about October, and then we'll see if I get anything else before we finish up. They just said precursor to. Okay. Yeah, the rest of the year. Right. The rest of the year. So October is very much this time of force field energy, of building our field as a collective. It's a very big month energetically. It feels like a big block of energy moving into this time to come in 2025. But we're growing in our light, growing in our field, very focused on the collective. It's like we have energetically connected. I wonder if a lot of you. Oh, now they're bringing this in. I wonder if a lot of you, and how we just said connected, more connected in. I wonder if a lot of you have started to move out into new experiences with other new people in your journey, or started to, our hermit phase, or a lot of us who are like, not around a lot of people are now being called to move out into maybe more public view in that sense, or with more people. I'll give you an example for myself, which this is funny. They're just bringing this up at the end. And I had known this. In fact, I think I brought this through some months ago. But remember, when I bring it through, doesn't mean it happens always in that month. It means it can, but it is initiating. The energy is initiating. I brought through how many light workers, and I don't remember when this was, could have been a year ago, are going to be starting to move out of their current space. In other words, example is kind of spending most of the time isolated, blah, 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 and now moving out into more where you can, with your field influence. So here's what's happening to me. So since 2017, I've been sitting in this house building my business, building my, working on my journey, working with clients, helping them forward. But it's me in my house all day long. I hardly see anyone in person. I do errands, I play tennis, but the 90% of my time is spent alone. Well, guess what? Just this last week, I accepted a tennis instructor position with our university, the University of Iowa. And I'm going to be working part-time now, outside my home, back in the real world, in a very different way, but in a way that I could have manifested this more perfectly. And I honestly, that's probably a video in itself, how this all came to be. But again, that's not the point of this video. But I know, here's the other thing. Remember, I have a financial, this is how you can start putting your own story together, just kind of utilizing like what I'm telling you. So you know how I told you I have a financial construct in this lifetime. Like the financials are my thing to learn, how to have faith and trust and let go of and just surrender in a huge way. And I gave you some examples of that in the last video. But this job is not about the money. I know this from day one. This has nothing to do with the money. Because I'm telling you right now, tennis instructors don't get paid much, even when you're working for a large university. My point in this is, I know the feeling of this. This is me meaning or being out in the public in a way that serves me too, right? But I am going to be able to share now in a way, very one-on-one, by the way, in a way that I'm ready for and that gets me out again. Like I said, it's like with this rebirthing process we've had individually, and then all of a sudden we're out in the world again. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to be that way, but I will say that is very much a major pathway for many of us. So I could probably go on and on. Let's see if there's anything else worldwide they want to talk about, literally on the ground. What the heck's going on in France? That's so weird. They just brought the president in. French president. I don't know his name. Macron? I don't know. Sorry. French. Leading the way? I have chills. What is that about? Again, I don't know if it's going to happen in October. I don't know. And I can never keep track of all this stuff. So whatever, maybe some of you keep track. But they're just showing the French. They're showing France. And I have chills. They're showing the president of France. They keep talking about leading the way. I have no idea. It may be something... wow, I don't know. So we're just going to leave it at that. What in the world? I just cannot get away from France. Okay. I just heard the word infusion of. I don't know. Like ways of thinking or something going on. There was a disruption. I just heard disruption as well. In the field of what is. Oh, this is leading up to November too. It feels like a lot of earth shaking, earth rattling. Now, I don't mean that literally. It could be. But there's, in power structures. I guess we can kind of see that maybe happening all the time, but I'm very much getting dismantling power structures. They just said that. Dismantling power structures. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot happening in October. I don't know if and when I say toppling over, they're going to be significant things, but some things are going to be hanging on a thread. This isn't all, again, I keep going back to happening at once, but there are power structures that are dismantling is what I'm saying. They're kind of showing on like stilts. You know how like, I don't know, down in the Gulf, in the United States, they build their homes up oftentimes on the beaches with high stilts. That's what I'm getting, but they're showing a visual of eroding away and like standing on two stilts. Eclipse energy does that though too, right? Like pulls those other legs out from under you. So I have a feeling these are the eclipse energies coming in, and again, this is this erosion idea, right? Of the visualization of pulling out those last remaining supports. So interesting. We're gonna see. I very much get this, and of course we got a lot of political play going on between now and November in the United States, which presents its own energy. A lot's going to be happening in October. It feels like something coming out of the blue is what I get. Out of the blue, unexpected, out of the blue, shifting and changing things. Don't know. I think we're going to just leave it at that for today because we could keep going on and on, as I've always said. So anyway, I hope you guys have taken something away. As I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside. This is about picking pieces of puzzle pieces that are given to you in all ways, right? And using that for the puzzle of your own journey and the understanding of what's going on with us, all right? So I thank you for all the work you've done. I don't do that enough. I thank you for each and everything that each of you do every day in your own journey to your light, to your healing, to the fullness of who you truly are, to that true understanding of what we're here for and who we are, and the work that you've done to help others in this journey. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Check out purplerainhealing.com if you'd like to check out my services and how I might assist you in your own journey. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.